Good morning and happy Tuesday. We got the really cool coffee cup. So let's imagine you lived near a town that had this setup where there was this giant rock in the middle of the town. And every day at noon, the rock would rise up into the air about 100 feet, and it would stay there for a while, and then it would come crashing down to the ground. And there was a guy that kept building his house near this rock, and then over time, as the rock fell and crashed to the ground, it would destroy the guy's house. And he complained to everybody about this rock and hated this situation, thought it was unfair, but yet he kept rebuilding his house right next to the rock. What would you tell this guy? You tell him to go build his house somewhere else, right? The point of that is there are some things that we simply can't change. You know, if you get to the end of the day and it starts to get dark and somebody looked at you and said, "How come it's getting dark?" And you went, "Well, that's kind of what happens is around this time of night, at this time of year, it gets dark." And he goes, "Well, I don't like that arrangement." You can say, "Well, you're going to have to see somebody else because there's nothing that I can really do about that." As we go forward in life, we have to remember that there are some things that simply are the way they are, and we're not going to be able to change them. If you live in the northern Midwest, like I do, you know that at some point in the fall and the winter, it's going to get cold. You don't know how cold it's going to get. This past winter, we had a mild winter. Still got cold, but we didn't have any of the Arctic tundras or whatever they call those things. But 2 winters ago, it was unbelievable. Now, is there much that I can do to change that? Yeah, I can change my location, but that's about it. It is possible to change people who don't want to change. I told you the story of A Christmas Carol, and that's evidence of that happening. So it is possible to change people who don't want to change, but it's really hard. It takes a lot of skill, takes luck, and it takes a tremendous amount of leverage. A lot of times when you're in those situations where you're around somebody, trying to change them is exhausting and takes too much time and takes too much effort. You have to remember as you move forward that the things that you can't change are the things that you need to stop spending your time on and your energy on, because it's wasted time and it's wasted energy. And a large amount of that is people. When I used to do family law, when somebody would come in to me and want to get divorced, and there was a lot of issues with regards to parenting, what they really wanted the courts to do is they wanted their soon-to-be ex-spouse to be a different person. That's what they really wanted. They wanted the courts to make them somebody other than who they were. Well, I had to get across to them, the court can't do that. They are who they are. And in fact, the things that you dislike about them, when you decide to divorce them, those things are going to be exacerbated. They're not going to lessen. They're going to become more, because now that you're divorcing them, you used to be a little bit of a governor on those. And now that you're divorcing them, those characteristics are come out. And the more you complain about them, the more that person's going to do it just to get back at you because you're divorcing them. So we have to remember that there's a lot of stuff that we simply cannot help. And if we spend a great deal of time trying to fix that type of stuff, we're not going to get anywhere. It's not going to make it any better. Instead, you need to plan for those things and then be ready when those events happen. Remember the thing that I said. You can't change what's going to happen. You can't control what's going to happen. You can only control your response. You can't control what other people are going to do. You can only control your response. Now, can you influence? Can you nudge in certain directions? Absolutely. What does that? Energy. Attitude and energy influences more than anything. If you become connected with somebody else and you're the leader, they're going to follow your energy a lot more than they would if you weren't around. But at the end of the day, if you spend a great deal of your time being upset because this person makes decisions that you don't agree with, that's not going to get you anywhere and it's going to waste your time. So let's say that you want to influence your child. Let's say that you've got a teenager or a young adult that's making decisions that you don't agree with. What's the biggest complaint about the younger generation towards the older generation? What is said in music all the time? For my generation, the song that really articulated that was the Beastie Boys, right? And the song talked about how the guy my dad tells me he doesn't want me to smoke, and that hypocrite smokes 2 packs a day. If you want to be a leader and guide people somewhere, success is the greatest motivator. If you are successful and happy in your own life, then that's going to start to attract people who want to live life in that fashion. And the people who are making decisions that you don't agree with, as they see you, they're going to start to go, eventually I'd like to live like that guy. That person's always happy. That person is in a good relationship. That person has found a way to have financial freedom. I want to make the same decisions in order to do that. And down the road, they're going to figure out that attitude is really the distinguisher there. Energy is really what does it. The thing that overcomes a great deal of problems in life is massive action, and especially positive massive action. That can overcome anything more than all of the rest of the strategies that we've talked about. The strategies can get you there quicker, much quicker, but the positive massive action overpowers anything else. The Alcoholics Anonymous has a great phrase that they say when they're in all of their meetings. Lord, grant me the serenity to accept those things that I can't change, the strength to change those things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. As you move forward with your day, and we're now looking at our goals, we're going through our lists, we're putting first things first and organizing things, always remind yourself that there are certain things in the world that simply are the way they are. And that's just something that you're going to have to deal with. Spending time on it, trying to change it, spending time on it being frustrated because that's the way it is, doesn't do you any good. It wastes your energy, it wastes your time, and in fact, it will burn you out and chew you up. So as you move forward today and for every day, remember that. Some things are the way they are, and we're just not going to be able to do that. Massive change can happen, and things that we think we're never going to be able to change can get changed over time, but we can't change that winter is going to come. We can't change that the sun is going to set. We can't change that people are going to die. We can't change that. You can't change the fact that you're going to lose your parents at some point. That's going to happen. So rather than fighting it, you need to be ready for it. You can't change that people are going to age. It's going to happen. Some people are going to delay it better than others. Some people are going to stay in better shape. Some people are going to have surgeries so that they don't look as old as they think they do. But at the end of the day, certain events are in fact going to happen, and we have to not get upset about those things and instead learn to accept them and change our approach to that particular situation. So my message today is with regards to yourself, remember the things that you can change and distinguish between the things that you can't. And then always look at that as you decide to move forward. You're going to reduce your stress, you're going to reduce your frustration, and you're going to focus on where you want to go and the things that you can impact as opposed to the things that you don't. And for the people that you'd like to have a different attitude, lead by example. That's the best way to do that. If you're happy and you're financially free and you're in a great relationship and you're soaring with your kids, that's addictive, and they're going to want to follow. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great Tuesday. Tomorrow we get to say hi to Mike on Wednesday. Let's take care of each other.